This week on Front End Fire, the government's ban on Fable gets lifted, Meta releases a new design system, and Vercel is bringing some oxygen to Shopify. It's Front End Fire. Let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome to Front End Fire, the weekly podcast that helps you stay up to date on the latest and the greatest in the front end world. I am your host today, TJ Van Tol. I have Paige Niedringhouse with me.
Hey everybody.
And Jack Harrington.
I'm bringing a little big Cookie Monster energy today. I don't know why. Not sure. Cookie.
I don't think I understand where that's coming from, but I do.
I just did that right before the intro. It's like, I don't know what.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I do have a trivia question for you, though, Jack. Do you know where you are from? The great city of Portland, Oregon. Do you know what your city was named after?
Having ports?
Well, possibly indirectly, but I was just in Portland, Maine.
Yes.
And learned that there's some story that we're not totally sure the truthfulness of this, but that settlers from Boston and Portland, Maine were the first to sort of explore that area and found the city of Portland, Oregon. And to decide on a name, they decided to flip a coin. And the person from Portland, Maine won the coin flip and named the city after Portland, Oregon. And
there you go.
That's the story they tell on tours over there to this day.
Well, yeah, they probably would, because they're like, we're the original Portland. Kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Actually, I've heard a slightly different thing, which is basically the real Portland was supposed to be Astoria, which is like on the coast and would be ideal actually as the port. Mm-hmm. But the wave mechanics were too weird there, and it was hard to maintain the harbor. So they ended up moving it inland. So Astoria kind of became the place that is like a little bedroom community best known for the Goonies. So now there's Portland, which is kind of downriver. Anyway, yeah. Ta-da!
It's funny how all these stories end up becoming a little bit just, what's the word I'm looking for?
Campfire stories, just BS.
Yeah, they evolve a little bit over time.
Yeah.
So,
the fish was this big.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that's big.
We're not very original in naming anything. We have Portlands on every coast, and probably there's a bunch inland in the States if you were to look state by state. Yeah, we just like to reuse.
We drove through all of New England, and the number of places there that are just named after some random European thing, because it was just like somebody from Europe went there first, and they threw their name on it, and here we are hundreds of years later, and there it still is.
Mm-hmm.
And can you imagine if like software engineers were to name cities? It'd be like Adapter, like.
Oh well,
big
that's a decent transition, because we do have some new things that were named this week on our show. So why don't we get into the news?
Okay. Let's do it. Nice segue.
Yeah, because we're going to be talking about Astryx in a minute.
Oh, Lord.
Which, I don't know where that came
so
from, but
poorly
is it
spelled.
the same spelling as the comics?
We'll get into it. But
Astryx.
Jack, why don't you start us off with some Vercel news?
Okay, a little history lesson here. So back in the day, I think right around when the Next.js app writer first came out and RSCs first got released, in a very small twist of history, Shopify released this framework called Oxygen, and they built it on an experimental version of Vite that included RSC support, and it was kind of like an all-in-one kit to build a Shopify store using Node.js and RSCs and React and all that. It kind of failed because it was an all-in-one kit, and this was before the days of agents. So there was no way if like they revved the kit that you would be able to like actually rev it without actually porting all the code. Whereas nowadays you could just tell an agent to go do it and it would just do it, which is kind of interesting all on its own, but whatever. So then they acquired React Router, famously, or this is Shopify, and Shopify then decided that React Router was going to be the next version of Oxygen. And that has, I guess, maybe turned out. I don't know, really. I don't know a whole lot of people talking about it. But now they've decided that their plan is to, or in fact, actually not the plan, but the execution is that they're going to they've worked with Vercel to create a headless API for Shopify that integrates well into the Node ecosystem. And they've got demo apps in Astro and Nuxt and of course Next.js and all of that. So it's I kind of think they finally did what they should have done all along, which was to have like a headless API and then just not worry about being the rendering engine on top of it. But they finally have done that, and that's now, I guess, what we're calling Oxygen is now that API. Anyway, speaking of bad naming, it's just sort of like, this is terrible because like at the end of the day, your LLM is going to be like, wait, which version of Oxygen are we talking about here? Because there was the one way back, and then there was the React Router version, and now this is this version, but whatever. It's all good.
Just so refresh my memory. Is Oxygen a Shopify focused rendering or like engine? So if you want to have an e-commerce site, this is a really easy way to do it, like all of what Shopify exists for, basically.
Exactly. So what this is going to do is give you your product catalog, your cart, all of that kind of stuff connected to the Shopify backend. So when you go and get your product catalog, it's going to go to the Shopify database for that. When you use the cart, it's going to go through the Shopify experience for that. And what they've done here is basically make that adapter layer headless so that now you can put any rendering engine you want on top of it, including, Next.js and Vue and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying out TanStack as we speak. So there might be a video on that on Monday. So we'll see.
So this blog post I see mentions hydrogen. Does hydrogen relate to oxygen or how?
Yeah, I guess like the two of them, it's a mess. It's a naming mess. Yeah. The original thing was hydrogen and oxygen. It was never really clear which one was like the full thing. I don't know. It's a mess. So, but now, yes. And it'll have, like I say, more implementation detail mechanism maybe next week. Because I think it's a fascinating topic. And there's a lot of folks who want to do this. So it's important.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about if I was running a Shopify store, why would I choose to build my own rendering engine on top of it instead of using what they already have, which seems like pretty much the whole kit and caboodle for any e-commerce shop.
I mean, if you want to do some really bespoke, experience, like let's say that you're buying, I don't know, a high-end automobile that, has all kinds of custom options on it where you need to get all kinds of coatings and whatnot applied and whatnot, the ability to have like some sort of bespoke experience where you go through all of it and it creates the cart for you and then it does the work on the Shopify backend for the actual transaction and all the mechanics of that.
Yeah.
I think that's appealing. So it is really these kind of bespoke experiential sites, or I guess if it's truly headless, a native experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like that's kind of a camp that WordPress already sits in if you have weird things that you're selling. Like I remember I saw something online called Bob's Containers, and they're basically these shipping containers that have been made into fancy, almost like Airbnbs. Like they take an old shipping container, they insulate it, they cut out they plumb it, they put drywall inside of it. It looks really cool when it's done. But they're using WordPress for the whole thing. Because I was looking at the code, I was like, how is this thing built? Because it's really cool. They have different models and all kinds of different sizes and stuff like that. But it's just WordPress under the hood, which makes complete sense because they don't care really about what the selling platform is as long as it does what it does. And WordPress is battle tested for that sort of thing. So interesting to see other companies who are kind of in the same e-commerce sort of space trying to give more flexibility, but also still all the stuff that is really important and hard to do, like all the logic, the auth, the transactions, the banking, that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
so
the transaction,
it's
the banking
interesting.
thing. If you want to take credit cards, like that's a whole PCI
that's
compliance
scary.
deal there, right? You don't want to deal with that, man. All you want to do is, sell your container ship ADUs. And by the way, we actually, as you'd expect from Portland, we actually have exactly that, like on the highway just south of my house, and like
nice.
they've got
of course, yeah.
We've been looking at it. I was like, that's kind of cool,
They
like
are kind of
cool. Starbucks that was in a container. I thought that was pretty neat.
Oh yeah, I've seen those in Florida too. They have they call the one that I'm familiar with, it's called like Boxy Park, and it's all shipping containers that are different little restaurants. So you can go get a hamburger, and there's seating in the middle, and they have live music on the weekends. It's really a neat idea.
Oh, the food cart experience has come to Florida. Where's that?
There's one in Orlando. So kind of really close to where Disney World is. And then the other one that I've seen is on the drive down to Fort Myers. Like, I think it's maybe closer to Tampa probably, but it's like you'll see it on the highway as you're driving down.
Okay.
So,
I have some rellies that live out there, and I want to have them go do the food cart experience.
Paige, to answer some of your question too about why some of this exists, for a lot of these brands, their Shopify site is everything for them.
Yeah.
That's when they run that TikTok ad or that Instagram ad, they're not linking to their .com. They're linking straight to the shop, to the product page. And so having that thing be unique and interesting and also lead directly into the checkout flow is mission critical. And so and it's money, because this is how these companies exist, is to complete these transactions. And so thus the high level of interest and investment.
And also,
I guess I'm just not thinking bespoke enough.
But now that I think about it, like if you, like TanStack as an example, like if we decided to, like really lean hard into merch, like we could go and add like a merch tab onto the existing tanstack.com infrastructure, and then just use this to then, headlessly add to the cart and all the rest of it. So now, we're not being led by Shopify. Shopify is integrating into our existing solution, which is
got it.
Yeah, handy.
Yeah, we have a Shopify site at Blues, and I'm not personally involved with it, but this has me kind of curious to look at. It's one of those things that this is like the pre-agent world, right? Pre-agent world, I'd look at something like that and say, I don't care, whatever's going on, as long as the purchases happen, great, I'm good with it. But now that it's like I can throw Claude or Codex at something like this, it opens up some opportunities. Like actually, there's kind of some things that we feel limited by with our kind of more stock Shopify thing. And maybe it might be time to take a look and see what I can do.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
All right. So next on our docket, we have some more Anthropic news, Paige.
Of course. When do we not? So, for those of you who have not seen the announcement yet, because Anthropic has been putting it basically everywhere that they can, Fable is back. Fable 5 has been re-released. I know, Jack's doing the happy dance.
Yay, I guess.
So Fable 5 was rolled back basically by a U.S. government restriction June 12th. And as of July 1st, Anthropic did whatever they needed to do to get it reinstated. So let me see. What do we have here for the notes? So Anthropic, in their new blog announcement about it, they trained an improved safety classifier to target and block behavior in the report, which was the jailbreaking report, and fail back to Opus 4.8, which was what was happening before. But apparently they have just upped the ante of this classifier to, I guess, think more things are dangerous than they actually are in order to prevent bad actors from using this in unsafe cybersecurity ways.
Or in order to make the U.S. government happy.
Or to make the U.S. government happy. Yeah, they said that so after they improved this classifier and gave it back to the U.S. government to test, there is the U.S. Department of Commerce's Center for AI Standards and Innovation. Didn't know that was a thing,
but
apparently
that come from?
I have no idea. Why does the U.S. Department of Commerce have this?
Fair.
But they tested it, and they have agreed that it is extraordinarily strong, like in quotes, extraordinarily strong. So basically just stronger safeguards and classifiers to detect if requests are benign or potentially harmful. And if they're harmful, it blocks those. They're also working with Project Glasswing and the companies that are part of that to kind of come up with a jailbreak security scale. So they want to be able to classify what is the level of detriment, I guess, that can happen if a model gets jailbroken. So the scale that they're working on, they're classifying capability gains. So how far beyond existing tools does the jailbreak take the user? Breadth of capability gain, which is how many distinct offensive tasks does the jailbreak technique work on? Ease of weaponization, how much human effort can turn the jailbreak into an attack?
I like that metric.
Yeah, and discoverability, which is it on the internet already and anybody could look this up, or is it something that is not easy to figure out how to do? So, it's Anthropic taking another stance and another trying to look like the good guys in all of this and keep AI safe for everyone.
I'm glad it's back because I like having options. I didn't really get a chance to use it more than just for a few trivial things, so I don't really have an opinion in terms of how good it is. I mean, most people that I've talked to, and Jack, you got a chance to use it a little more thoroughly than me, said it seemed fine and good, but nothing, earth-shattering or anything like that.
Yeah.
And actually, Jack, I got to give you some credit too. GLM, which you had, So GLM, the model, the 5.2, the Chinese model, I heard of it first when you brought it up on this podcast. And since then, I've been hearing about it all the time. Just like it seems to be a really big breakthrough in the open source world. And so I've been there's been more conversations in the AI world more recently about cost cutting and what can we do to sort of mix and match our usage, some of our usage on these open source things that are free or at least cheaper. And then reserving certain tasks for these really high-end models.
Yeah, we've been looking at it at work too, because we have an AI piece built into our application. So seeing if we could potentially swap it out or at least have it be an option for different customers who want to choose different AI models to do their evaluations with. So yeah, it seems to be making waves.
Yeah, seems like you need an adapter layer that can go and get you to different models. Just Tanstack AI.
I don't know.
Just saying.
Yeah, I don't know how our team does that. That's the Gen AI team that's focused on that. So
they probably just ask Claude to do it.
Yeah, just ask Fable. What model should I use for this?
I recommend Fable. It consumes the most tokens for Anthropic.
Right, but in addition, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Well, I was going to say, I just wasn't like super blown away by Fable the way other people have been, but that's just me.
Yeah. Well, maybe instead, Jack, you'll be blown away by Sonnet 5, which has also come out in the past week. Yeah, so Sonnet 5 also debuted, I think maybe the day before Fable came back, and it's just the latest in the Sonnet upgrades. So now it is the cheaper model than Opus. It's not the long thinking model that Opus is, but it can now make plans, use tools, run autonomously at a level that it says, or Anthropic says, it needed Opus models for a few weeks ago, or not a few weeks, but a few months ago. So if you are cost conscious or you just want to try out something that's a little bit maybe less thinking intensive than Opus can be, it might be worth a shot. It's substantially better than Sonnet 4.6, according to all the benchmarking they've done. It is cheaper and closer in performance to Opus 4.8. And it says that it's safer to use in agentic contexts. So even though it's not at the level of security and, I guess, capabilities that Fable would be, it is quite on par in a lot of instances to Opus 4.8. So, that's pretty cool that the smaller, lighter, cheaper models are improving that dramatically.
Yeah, I use Sonnet a lot for I've been on vacation, so I've not upgraded and tried 5.0, but just Sonnet in general is just a good standard model for standard things. So I will pick that in my dropdown come Monday morning.
It's funny. I tend to use I use either Haiku or Opus. I use Haiku for like code mode stuff, just basically tool calling, and Opus for everything else. So this would be cool. New options.
Yeah, I feel like I default to Opus for pretty much everything right now, but I would certainly be willing to try Sonnet and kind of compare and contrast how good it seems compared to Opus.
It kind of depends on what I'm doing, and I'll just pick different things from the dropdown or different tools. I also gave Codex a pretty good deep dive try to get up to speed on that, and that's improved a lot since the last time I used that one as well. And so I don't know. That's one of the reasons why I like doing this podcast and talking about these, is just to keep tabs on what's going on with this, because this is our new world, is keeping track of all these.
Okay, well, I have one more for you if you want to keep tracks on this sort of stuff. Is a new model called Ornith, Ornith.
Okay.
And
why don't let's just go back to naming these things Portland. What is it?
Something pronounceable.
Wait, do it again. Ornith,
Ornith 1.0.
Okay.
So it's a self-learning, self-improving family of open source models for agentic coding tasks.
Do we know where this came from, or
it's open source? Maybe that or open.
Is it another Chinese?
I'm not sure. I don't know
AI
about
company that released it.
Not that.
It's done by Hugging Face.
Oh, there you go.
So
yeah, so that's just universal. But very interesting, and it's got like there's a 9B, a 31B, 35B, and then there's a 397B, which would be something you'd run on a cloud. But pretty cool. Keep an eye on that one.
Have you had a chance to try it, or just came across your radar?
Just came across the radar and was looking to do an eval of that on code mode and see what the deal was. But there's only so many hours in a day, really, at this point. There's some F1 I gotta watch.
That is correct. There is a race this weekend.
It's happening as we record this, actually.
Yeah,
so.
Silverstone.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah, no, it's over. I haven't looked at my X yet, so yeah. Because my X always has like top trends, and it's like whoever won is on the top trends. I'm like, nope.
All right. Well, speaking of weird names, last on our docket of news this week is Astryx, and it's Astryx, and it is a new design system from Meta, which this came totally out of left field. A little strange, but per their blog post, we're excited to introduce Astryx by Meta, an open source design system that's AI fluent and fully customizable without dependencies, which is a weird statement because then they go on to list some of their dependencies. It's a complete production ready and growing toolkit with 150 plus accessible components, brand level theming, dark mode, ready to ship templates, and a CLI, all as one cohesive system built on React and StyleX. So StyleX, if you're not familiar, it's Meta's CSS and JS framework that's very performance focused. It has a compiler and a compile
step. It's a build time framework. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's being built on top of that, being built on top of React. It has like 150 different components. They're the components you sort of expect. There's date pickers, there's custom selects. It kind of looks like just a standard component library, at least as I've browsed through it. But apparently, so going back to their blog, Astryx has matured within Meta for the last 8 years and powers 13,000 apps. It's shaped by the designers, engineers, and product teams who depend on it every day, and now it's yours too.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Has Meta ever put out a design system before, or is this their first?
I don't think so. Yeah, nothing that I can think of. I mean, I don't know if they have multiple ones internally. I don't know why now per se. There is the AI angle, so they mentioned a couple different places that Astryx was built ground up to be AI operable. Which, again, some of these quotes in here, it's built from the ground up to be AI operable. Didn't you say it's been used for the last 8 years? I don't really think it was built from the ground up. Yeah. There's so many conflicting statements in here.
Yeah.
It was written by AI, too.
Yeah, exactly. I think the AI might have wrote the website and the blog post and everything. But it does ship with a CLI and an MCP server, which is kind of interesting. So they ship with a lot of tooling to try to help point agents in the right direction. But I don't know if they're just trying to become a bigger player in this world. Like if you're a design system that agents like using, you can establish a pretty strong foothold. And I also wonder if this is just in an agent world easier for them to throw out. Like they had this system, they pointed Claude at it and said like, well, let's just publish this out there with some documentation and why not earn some developer goodwill?
Yeah, that's kind of what this feels like to me, because in the world that we live in, it's almost like, why would you choose to put out a new design system library when we have so many competing ones already that are entrenched? We have Bootstraps and we have Material UIs and we have ShadCN and Tailwind, which are just taking over everything, and Radix and Basecoat and, just on and on and on. It's like, do we need another one?
Can I be slightly conspiratorial and say that in a way, like it's a layoff avoiding, or it like offloads some of the work into the open source community? Because if people pick it up, I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. Man, at some point we have to have a conversation about is the open source community just even a thing anymore in an AI world? Also,
wow.
I mean, it's just a stronger take that I'm developing, that it used to be that you'd put projects out there because you're like, oh, you want the community to go help with bug reports and everything, but now with agents, like, is that even still a thing? Can you get your name out there by being associated with an AI project because you're like really good at using Claude and Codex? I don't really know the answer to that, but I personally don't think that argument that you put out a project for the community to maintain has the same weight that it did 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, but I'm still processing that. I don't know.
And that's kind of a derivation of the whole, like, we don't need frameworks argument anymore, because you can have an agent write everything from scratch. But then again, like, there's a certain point at which code is still code. It's still tech debt, right? So the more that you build, regardless of how you build it, you still have to maintain it. And that's a big ongoing cost.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. And I think the reason that we're not just building raw bytes, even though it might be more efficient, is that the LLMs like having building blocks, because if they can look into their index and say, okay, here's how I solve this routing problem, and it's done with React Router, well, they're probably going to reach for React Router more often than just hand coding a router with browser APIs, because there's just less in its training information for how to do that. And so that's why I think maybe the play here is AI. They figure if they ship a CLI and an MCP server, that makes them a little more agent friendly, and maybe they can find a foothold that way. But I still think it's just going to be so hard to take on ShadCN and Tailwind and such, that just have so much out there that agents already know and love, has been evidenced by all the slop-coded AI sites all over the place.
I think Meta has just lost the plot, and they don't know what to do to keep relevant. Like, the metaverse was a complete fail. The AI stuff, nobody understands why you would put AI onto Facebook and like make AI friends for people to engage with. Like, I think they just don't know. I mean, early on, that was talk. Like, Zuckerberg talked about having AI avatars just like hanging out, chit-chatting with people, which is like, we already have enough bots on the web. Yeah. Just like, I don't think they know what to do to keep relevant in this new era that we're in, and I think they're just kind of throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks.
Well, that's kind of been their shtick, is that the one thing that they're very good at is it turns out Instagram is very good for ads, and AI can help you make better ads and target better ads. And so that pays their bills. And then with all this excess money, they just keep throwing stuff out there. Like the metaverse is the ultimate example of that. But I don't know. I just get the sense that this is just some engineer's team being like, hey, we've got this design system. Let's try to earn some developer goodwill. Let's just toss this thing up on GitHub. We'll just have Fable work on it for a weekend. Get it out there.
We gotta just rewrite Bun in a weekend. That kind of not like that hasn't been done before. I don't know where I was listening to this, but it turns out actually here's a creepy little story in that area. Talking about Facebook generating people. Facebook actually did patent an AI system to simulate the personality and online activity of deceased users.
Oh, no.
Yes. Okay. I'll just leave that. I'll leave that right there.
No, Facebook.
No, Facebook. No. Apparently, they're not going to go anywhere with it. They're patenting it so that nobody else could do it or something like. I don't know. It's weird, and they didn't want.
I don't know. The one thing that I think the one thing that's coming for us in our social media futures is we already know, you see this all over X already, that's just AI generated personalities that people find certain niches and can invent people, and that's an inevitable future that we're not getting away from.
Oh yeah.
Whether we like it or not.
There.
Yeah. All right. But poor name aside, Astryx is out there. I still don't know what Astryx is supposed to be. It's not addressed anywhere. They just threw that out there. So I don't know if it's some sort of play on something. I don't know if Claude named it. I really don't know where it came from.
Well, it's not the beloved French comic strip. That is a different Asterisk.
Yeah, and it's not spelled right, so it's not just like the little star thing that we put when we misspell words.
It's not that either. Yeah. I don't know. If you know, let us know. Go ahead, Paige.
Yeah, this feels like is it a Pokemon or is it a pharmaceutical drug type of name?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could. Oh, it could be both. Yes. Honestly, I could, but I can see the pharmaceutical ad right away. Ask your doctor if Astryx is right for you.
It's right for you.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
If you
experience,
if you're on the meta team that created this, we would genuinely actually like to know the origin of the name. So please click the link to our Discord in our show notes and log in and let us know.
Well, I'd like to have you on the show to talk about why.
Sure.
Why the world needed another design.
I would genuinely love to know more about this, because I do think, I mean, kidding aside, we like to joke, but I think it's awesome when companies throw up, it's open source, it's MIT licensed, it's cool stuff to use. I think it's a genuinely cool thing that Meta did here.
Yes, absolutely. And knowing what it takes to get that happening in a big company like that, kudos to you guys. Like, that takes a lot of effort. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, I know we have at least one lightning round thing, so why don't we jump to that?
Let's do it.
All right, so I have just one quick one. I've been catching up on the news from the last week while I was out, and I saw this headline from Cloudflare. Our friends at Cloudflare, who are in the news about as often as Anthropic recently, we've covered some of the features they've recently added to block AI crawlers. They've made a big deal of they're the company that you can click a checkbox and AI crawlers will be completely blocked. And then they've also made news out of calling out people that try to evade their crawlers and some of the stuff they've done there. Well, they're in the headlines again because they've announced that starting on September 15th, so, what's that math? Like 2 months away, something like that.
A couple months, yeah.
That they are going to Cloudflare's default settings will block, quote, mixed-use crawlers from any pages that host ads, the company announced. That means the crawlers that blend search, agent use, and training will be blocked from crawling these sites by default unless the site's owner adjusts the settings otherwise. And these changes to the defaults will apply to new Cloudflare customers, new sites set up by existing customers, and all existing free customers, the company says. And the reason this is relevant is this mixed-use crawler, they might as well have just named Google by name because that's as far as I know, they're the only. I mean, I can't think of anybody else who's. It's based, but it's saying new Cloudflare sites and new sites from existing customers are going to block Google by default. It's starting in September, given these changes, which is a pretty big deal and something that I have to imagine most Cloudflare users probably don't want. I think most people still want to show up on Google. And it's unclear for this if this is a serious threat or if they're just trying to negotiate something or if they're just trying to stir the pot and get podcasts like us to talk about it. But I definitely thought it was interesting that they're at least announcing this move.
But the nature of Google has also shifted, right? The nature of Google is now you get like AI search results first, and that's, I guess, still informed by SEO, maybe? I don't know. That's a weird.
So when I ask Google something, when I'm Googling, I get back the AI results, and a lot of times it has links to YouTube videos, to Reddit threads, to blogs where it got the information that I'm looking for. So I assume that that's what they're trying to block. And I don't know if that's good or not. I don't know if that's good. The average consumer is just not going to see relevant information, which is going to annoy them. But the sites that are not getting credit or not getting traffic, that also, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's the right way to try and police this or not.
Well, and the AI overviews from Google have gotten quite good, actually. They started kind of gimmicky. They were often wrong. They were in the reviews for the wrong reasons. And recently, I find myself actually using it. For a while, I was going straight to ChatGPT for everything, and now I kind of go back and forth a little bit because the AI overviews have gotten genuinely quite good.
Yeah,
and people for the most part, I mean, Google honestly deserves a lot of credit for taking on this challenge and seemingly doing a pretty decent job from it, because from all stats I've seen, their usage numbers are still going up and not down, even though there's a completely new paradigm underlying how they're doing most of their searches. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I can speak on behalf of Blues. We definitely don't want to be left out of these sort of these listings. It still brings in a lot of eyeballs, and content sites might be at odds with AI crawlers, but as the lines get very blurry, I don't know if I'd want to be blocking them.
Okay. Here's what it does add, though. If let's say that you are a company that Google really wants to get that data, right? You have valuable data and they want it. Now it gives control to you for a switch to turn Google off if you want to. But for most folks, it's going to be like, I'm begging to get on Google, right? It's not the other way around. But if you do have that relationship with Google where they're like, "Ooh, we really want your data," it's like, yeah, well, pony up, brother, or else, turn that off.
Like, I'm still wondering, how is this affecting Google Ads? Because that was the biggest revenue driver for Google for the longest time, those sponsored ads at the tops of search results. And I don't see or I never clicked on them, but I don't see them anymore. Like, half the time I just look at the AI answer because it gives me the quick info that I need. Like, are people still spending tons of money on those? Are they still driving clicks? Or is Google just kind of like migrating away from that completely? And how are they replacing that if they're not going to be bringing in sponsored ads and people are going to be spending tons of money on it?
So yes, people are still clicking them, and yes, people are still spending money on them. The thing that almost Google got lucky. I mean, not really lucky in a sense that no one wants to run an ad on a query like "How old is Bradley Cooper?" because that's no one's going to sign up for that search query, or just other random facts that you may ask Google.
This is a great random fact. Okay, sure.
I don't know where I pulled that. I don't know why that was on my head, but whatever. The things that if you look up what is the best auto insurance company or who should I,
they want to be on that ad.
Yeah, right. Those
not the
ads,
same people.
If any, not. I mean, it might be the same person that you might move from Bradley, one to the other. But those are the things that you will 100% see sponsored ads. And if Google stays relevant, if they stay the default, which is why they pay the Apples of the world, the Firefoxes of the world, if they can stay the default, they can make sure that people are still asking those very lucrative questions to them, and they can still charge premium prices for those queries. And I'm guessing if I look up, best auto insurance Michigan, I'm not going to see an AI answer. I'm going to see an ad right on top. So I'll try it real quick.
Actually, I did it in incognito browser right now, and I get sponsored results, and then I get an AI overview, and then I get regular search results. So in fact, actually, the AI results aren't even above the fold. Like they're
I see 4 ads before the AI overview.
I strongly recommend doing this in an incognito browser because you don't. I do not want to be like hit up.
I'll be
I wouldn't even say the words. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I stand corrected then.
I mean, you're not wrong though in the sense that Google used to show. I feel like they used to show more ads for mundane things, and now they have genuinely done a pretty decent job of taking those questions where the ads don't make much sense and making sure the user sees the AI answer right away. But because they're still growing, I don't know if Cloudflare really wants to be taking their site users out of Google by default. And I kind of feel like Cloudflare is going to fold here at some point, or maybe they'll just change their default settings. Because to your point, Jack, there are some sites that want leverage over Google, but I feel like you have to be operating at like Reddit's or New York Times type scale for that to be a thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's not just Dave's blog about, car repair.
I will say that to your point, Paige, like the ad integration is so much smoother now. Like my little Astryx query about, the beloved French comic series. Yes, it did come up with the AI thing at the top, but right below that is sponsored tickets and tours. So I guess it thinks that I'm the kind of person who would go to France for, a day or a week to go to the Astryx theme park. I guess it didn't even know there was one, but apparently there is.
Yeah, it's news to me.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing
cheap
Google
too, $67 for a ticket. Comparison to like Disney World, baby. Let's go, Astryx.
Disney's out of control.
Disney's crazy.
They're gonna get a conversion out of you. You're gonna help. You're helping
I never liked
right here.
As a kid. The last thing I wanted to read as a kid, but dang it, now, boy, tell you what, who needs Donald Duck? Let's go, Astryx. It's like the what were the Oreo variants that people like? The cheap ones. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here.
I don't remember the names.
Hydrox.
It's like the Hydrox of cookies of theme parks.
All right. Do we have any other lightning news this week? I don't think so. Let's talk about what's making us happy.
Woohoo!
Paige, what is making you happy this week?
A homemade drink called Pink Starburst Vodka Lemonade is making me happy this week. Yeah, I know. Both of you recoil.
No. I think it's
Tell me more.
Put me on my butt.
Yeah.
Is what I think it's gonna do. Yeah.
So for everybody who's not in the U.S., we've just celebrated the 4th of July holiday this past weekend. So that's barbecues, it's drinking, it's fireworks, and it's been really hot in the eastern half of the U.S., which is like half the population. So one of the things that I came across recently as we were going to our friend's barbecue was this new to me anyway, drink that is called Pink Starburst Vodka Lemonade. And it basically tastes like a pink Starburst, which is the best flavor of Starburst for anybody who hasn't had them, but in drink form. And adult because it's got vodka in it. But basically, it is a mixture of lemonade that you'd get from the grocery store. So, simply Time lemonade or whatever you want to get. A handle of vodka. And it needs to be like the vanilla flavored vodka, like Stoli or Absolute or one of those. And then you mix that with a drink packet of the strawberry Kool-Aid. Just mix that all together, put it in a really big container, and you'll be set.
And then it gets schnockered. Yeah.
Yeah. It can definitely
drink smooth, and you're like 3 drinks
in,
that is like so much sweetness.
Whoa.
Well, actually,
lemonade and then you add Kool-Aid. That's yeah.
The Kool-Aid packets actually are unsweetened, so it's not as sugary sweet as you think. Because I think if you're making regular Kool-Aid, and it's been a million years since I've had this, I think you have to actually add sugar to it as you're doing like a regular fruit punch Kool-Aid. But yeah, the lemonade and the vanilla vodka mixed all together, it is really very, very similar to a pink starburst in a drink.
Nice. I don't know about you, but I've started like half and halving my lemonade. Like I go to restaurants and it's like, I'll ask for a lemonade, but half lemonade, half water. It just gets so sweet. Like particularly the ones that come out of like if it comes out of the whatever, like the bar. Yeah.
And you can do the same thing with like making an Arnold Palmer, which is half lemonade, half tea. Just do unsweet tea instead of sweet.
Just not Southern tea. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, that's a crowd pleaser for sure. Just have a big crowd. That's the only thing.
Yeah. That's the one thing about this. I'd want to make this in bulk, and the recipe you link to does that also.
Yes. So. You can only make it in bulk, so do it for a party.
Yeah. Cool. Jack, what is making you happy this week?
So I swear this is not an ad. We didn't get paid for this, but I lost my sunglasses, as I'm bound to do, and that's why I no longer buy expensive sunglasses. I only buy cheapies. But the thing about my eyes is they have to be polarized because I've got red hair. I need polarization to protect my eyes. And I found this company called Goodr, Goodr. And they make a whole bunch of sunglasses that I think are in the $30 to $40 range, as opposed to like $250 for Oakleys or Ray-Bans. So you can get like a bunch. So anyway, I ordered a bunch, and one of the things that I love about Goodr is it's all polarized, but it's also really funny. The names are hilarious. Like for example, these are Blood Moon Barbecue. Got that one. Okay. And let's see. These are Beelzebub's Bourbon Burpees. These are mirrored. Kind of fun. And then my last one that I got was Just Knock It On. I guess just knock it off. But there you go. Just knock it on. But no, they're great. And they're super comfy. And yeah, no, I love these things. They're very grippy, grip to your head. So that's always a good thing. And just a real fan of these. So I got a bunch. Because, like I got 3 for the price like half of a single pair of Ray-Bans.
I love the names. So I see Sunbathing with Wizards. There's a bunch of fun names.
Oh yeah.
And just to bring this episode full circle, their website is, of course, just a custom themed Shopify site as I cruise around. So, there
of course it is.
There you
go. Because that's smart. I'll be honest with you. Like, Shopify for a certain scale is really good. Like, I think it, that kind of like small to medium to even like large, but not crazy large inventory site. It's fantastic for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and they got a custom design. You wouldn't know it until I can always tell once I get to the cart and then the checkout experience. That's when the giveaway is. But when you're looking at the site, it just looks kind of just like a standard e-commerce site.
Yeah,
nice.
But it's
the branding here is awesome.
The branding's awesome, and then they've also got like if your noggin is big, because I fit into the big noggin space, so I have to go for like the Grand G or BFGs, which are the big noggin ones.
You can get them with prescription too, which is for cheaper sunglasses. Yeah, they've got a whole thing in here. They've got some offering where you can order with prescription, so that's kind of cool.
Well, I go to Costco for my prescription stuff. Costco's eyeglass stuff And tires. By the way, we just did my kid's tires for her car. Oh my God. We took it over to a tire place, and the Costco procedures, like they want you to come back after 25 miles so they'll tighten the lug nuts. And then they want you to come back every 900 miles for a free rotation. Like, they're serious. Like, it's impressive.
So we get our tires done at, I think it's Tires Plus, maybe, which is all that they do. And they are the speediest, like, tire place I've ever seen. We literally dropped the car off, and I think 20 minutes later they called and the car was already done. It had its tires replaced. We were like, we're going to go get lunch and come back in an hour or whatever.
They're like, no, you're not.
Just basically like turned around.
You're going to get your order
in
back. And you'll be done. Yeah.
Yeah. But they do the same thing. They offer free rotations and rebalancing, like, for the lifetime of the tires. So, but that's pretty sweet. What impressed me was
like the schedule, though. Like, we have the same sort of thing we have to Les Schwab, but they never gave us a schedule to be like, hey, come back in 25 miles, I'll tighten up the lug nuts. Come back in 900, and we'll do the rotations. That's pretty cool. I can't even imagine, though, how much the tires are for your new Porsche. I can't even, like, they don't even, yeah.
It has new ones, so can't tell you yet.
Okay.
All right. Well, what's making me happy this week is, so I just got back from a road trip. We started in Boston, as I talked about last week when I was recording from my Boston hotel room. But then we rented a car and we drove around through Rhode Island, and then we headed up north through Maine. And that whole area is gorgeous. I would highly recommend it. But kind of the most unique thing on the trip that we did that I wanted to bring up here is this thing called Rail Explorers. And it's this... Basically, it's this rail car that you pedal yourself, you self-propel with bicycle sort of power. So they converted these rail carts to have 4 seats. So it's a 4-seater. You sit on it with 3 other people, and you have bicycle style pedals, and you propel this thing on a standard train track.
I love everything about this. I love. Yes.
It's cool because oftentimes these train tracks go through some really unique and fun areas that you wouldn't just get to see. And you can travel. So we did 6 miles, right? So you can go a long distance. And actually my kids, because I had 2 15-year-olds powering this thing, they wanted to go on a 100-mile trek across the country.
Let's go. I love it.
That was honestly our only complaint, is that there's a bunch of groups going at first, and they were like, yeah, let's take the stops off this thing. I want to go cross country on this. And I think the reason they have some trouble with it is because they're on a standard train track. There was a couple spots where they had to have employees there because it'll cross certain roads, and there's certain logistical challenges of running on a rail track, but it was just a really fun experience. I definitely would encourage you. I've got a link in the show notes to just look at this thing. It's quite cool. And they have like 6 different locations, and I haven't looked exactly where all of them are. The one we did was in Rhode Island, and the Rhode Island one had 2 different tracks that you could do, and we had fun with it. I mean, it was just a quick little thing. It was like 2 hours, but it was really fun, and it's just a really clever way of reusing. I don't think these train tracks were in use at all ever. They were just kind of abandoned, and some really smart startup just made fun use of it, and we had a lot of fun with it.
That's fantastic. Love that.
That sounds really fun.
All right, and I think that is our episode for this week. So thanks everybody for joining us. If you want to follow us, we are on all the social media platforms. Those links are all in the show notes. As I mentioned earlier in the show, the Discord link is where we hang out primarily. That link is in the show notes as well. If you want to hang out, tell us your theory about why Astryx is named Astryx, or other poorly named tools that you've stumbled across this week, you can jump in there and tell us all about it. But thanks everybody again for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.